This is an 8-iron, and it's a dead shank.
Wow.
Way right.
Oh,
Takes a hop
shank.
off the pad.
You got to be kidding me. Very tough pitch shot right here. You got to hit it into the hill. One hop up and bite, and it's in.
Kind of like that.
I would like to welcome Brad Ralston from the Red Feather Golf Club in Lubbock, Texas, to the Sub 70 podcast. Have been looking forward to this one. It's a pretty exciting project you have going down in Texas there. So a lot of buzz in the golf industry about it. So you got to be pretty excited.
Man, we're really excited. I can't wait to get open in July.
Well, before we get in, to the club and how it all came about, if you could kind of get your backstory of, I assume you must love golf to be able to go and do something like this. So, how did you fall in love with golf, and, when did you start playing, and how did you kind of get to this point where it's like, I love this enough where we're going to go build our own club?
Yeah, so I started playing golf, I guess with any kind of regularity, my senior year of college. I played baseball at Texas Tech and was a pitcher there. And so every summer, I went somewhere and played baseball and lived away from home, and took my last year off. Didn't go play summer ball my last year. And so I ended up playing like 36 holes a day for basically the whole summer. I had a buddy that worked at one of the local municipal golf courses here, and I think I got the super senior twilight discount the whole summer. So it was a lot of fun, and just kind of fell in love with the game, man.
Was the transition tough from being a baseball player to a golfer? Most of the baseball guys have that little over the top loop move, and it's the power fade starts off right away. Was it a little tough going from baseball swing to golf swing?
Well, I was a pitcher, so I didn't hit much, so it wasn't too hard, but definitely still a work in progress. It
always is, right? We never have this thing mastered. So, so you kind of start playing, and then your business career. How did that transpire? What industries have you been in, and what are you kind of currently doing now that sort of gave you the experience, the background to be able to kind of take on a project of this size?
Yeah, so started out as a banker. I was a banker for about 5 years. A place called Plains Capital Bank. Got a great background. Met a lot of great business people. Always knew I wanted to be, an entrepreneur and in business, and no better place to learn that than trying to loan money and figure out how people go and make money. And so did that. Actually ended up going into business with one of my customers after that, and have been here at Truno for, I guess 17 or 18 years now. And really had a lot of help, great partners, grew this business, started investing in various projects. We bought and sold car washes before. We, started this residential development, and that's really what led to the golf course. As we got into some residential development, had some land that I thought would, make a good spot for a golf course, and so it worked out well for everybody. Certainly never dreamed I would do this. It was always kind of I think every golfer ever has dreamed about building their own golf course or having their own golf course, and never really, knew if that would happen or not. And, but it did. And I think Lubbock's ready for it. And now it's kind of gone, like you said, it's gotten a lot of buzz. We've gotten a lot of national members that have joined. And, so really excited to bring that here to Lubbock and just have the opportunity to kind of fulfill a dream that, wasn't definitely planned.
So when you found the property, was it first, let's find the right area to do a housing development with the growth that Lubbock's had, or was it let's find land to do the golf course first, and then we'll figure out the development side of the properties as a secondary part of it?
Yeah, definitely it was the development first. And, and then when we were trying to figure out what kind of development we wanted to do, it was originally going to be some tract homes and starter homes that was really selling. And we had about, 135 undevelopable acres that had to be done, something had to be done with it. It either had to be a park or just a waste area. And it's kind of our drainage system here in Lubbock. You have these playa lakes that act as our drainage system, above ground drainage system. And so anyway, we had this undevelopable land for structures, but it was, we could have had a golf course on it. So I did some due diligence, just said, hey, is this possible? And then it turns out that it was, and we took a flat cotton field and have now built what feels like the Grand Canyon for Lubbock, Texas, and built a great golf course around it.
The name Red Feather, how did you guys come up with that? Does it have significance to you, the town? Is there a kind of a backstory to that?
Yeah, so we always I have a lot of Cherokee in my family tree, and so I wanted to do that, and we originally started out with wanting to have a headdress with the logo and all of this stuff, really to be pay respect kind of to my family's history and so there's this story about a Chief Red Feather. You can look it up, and he basically builds a utopia, or leads his people to a utopia. And I kind of love that story about his vision of what he wanted. He got people to follow him there and built this big utopia that everybody followed and flourished in. And so it's a legend of Chief Red Feather. But then I decided that at that same time the Redskins were getting canceled and the Indian, everybody's changing the logos, and I was like, man, I don't want to fight this battle. So because I'm certainly not documented, but I just, so that's where the name Red Feather came. And then I wanted to keep the name, and we ended up here with the rooster. Yeah.
Then it's not going to, in this. Yeah, I get it. Right. If God forbid, three people get mad over it, even though you're trying to do it out of respect, turns into a shit show, and it's not worth it. I hear where you're coming from on that one.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we got this land. Now it's flat. So what comes next? You guys think, okay, we can make this happen. So is the next step in this, we're going to come up with the vibe of the club, of what we want it to be, or is it we start interviewing architects that can kind of, did you guys have an idea of how you wanted the course to be, or did you go to the architects or get and say, hey, what do you guys see for this piece of land, or what's kind of like the next steps once you guys figured out we're going to use this part of this development for this golf course? Where's step 2 and step 3 in this?
Yeah, so I got to be good friends with JJ Colleen, who and we we had a lot of happy hours, honestly, saying, hey, are we really going to try this? We really going to do this? And to up until we really started laying sod down, there was always a parachute that, like, hey, where I'm just like, this still doesn't feel real, but now it feels very real. And so we start, having beers and talking, and like we start thinking about, okay, who are we going to, if we do this, who are we going to get to build the course? And we talked to Jeff Ogilvy and his group, and then ultimately landed on King Collins, who has just been phenomenal to work with. Great guys. I mean, I loved their vibe. I loved their hunger. I loved their eagerness to build bold golf courses. And, when you're starting out with a flat piece of land, and I'm going, okay, guys, they said, hey, we want to do a site visit. And, like, I don't know that you guys really understand what I'm talking about. When I say we have a flat cotton field, it's literally a flat cotton field. And they're like, okay, well, maybe we don't need to do a site visit. And I was like, just look at your tabletop there, and that's the terrain you have to work with. And they looked at me and they said, hey, man, when in the whole interview process, they finally came out, and it took us about 10 minutes to walk the land. They're like, hey, we need 2 days to walk the land. I'm like, you don't get it. It is a flat piece of dirt. And so anyway, we sat down. They started, talking about how their approach is about really kind of paying homage to the old school golf courses, traditional close tee box to green, tee to green relationships, and everything they were saying just kind of fit what we wanted. They were cool guys. We got along, and I thought the vibe. And then they looked at me, and I'll never forget it. He just said, I was like, you guys really think you can, build something great here on this piece of dirt? And he just looked at me, he's like, you have no fucking idea. And I'm just like, okay, I left that meeting, and I'm really like, it's the truth. I did it, and they came up with a great design, and it's just, it's been incredible.
Which is tough, right? To make a great golf course on a flat piece of land it takes some real talent, right? It does. It is hard to do. Like, how many I mean, how much dirt did you guys have to bring in?
Well, we didn't bring in any dirt, but we pushed a lot around. So
Okay.
we dug and moved it around, and I think we've moved, like, I'd have to get the exact count, but it's well over 2 million cubic yards of dirt that we've pushed around. And so it's been quite the process, but we're loving how it's turned out.
Well, yeah, and their vibe seems to make golf, this is just from what I'm seeing from the outside, so let me know if I'm wrong here, but you guys want this to be, very, what am I trying to say, high-end, classy, but fun, where, cocktails will flow. If you want to wear flip-flops, swim trunks, and a T-shirt, knock yourself out. The golf, there'll be some, we're not trying to build a golf course that's just going to, beat the living hell out of you. Yeah, there's going to be some tough holes, but there's some holes to make some birdies. I'm assuming you want that experience to be fun, where there's a little bit more width off the tee box for the players, right? I know you guys doing some cool, like, double green stuff. Like, I love that idea. Is that sort of the vibe that you're kind of going after?
It's absolutely the vibe, and I think it's the future of golf. I think that just the world gets less and less formal, and in golf, just it started to follow it, but it's always lagged. And so really, I joined a club down in Houston called Blue Jack National, and I went there on a site visit, and I was like, okay, they got lodging on site. My kids get to run around, take the wife down there, and it's like I asked them one time, I was like, hey man, how do you have this vibe? And they're like, we never want you to come here worrying about breaking a rule, and it's like, so whatever, attire is available. I go to the chipping range down there in my flip-flops or my bare feet. The kids come from the swimming pool and go out to the driving range and, hit a dozen balls, and it's just fun. And I'm like, this is what I would like to have as my home club every single day. And where it's low pressure. It's, we're going to have a great golf game. The focus of our club is going to be golf, but it's going to be fun and, just laid back luxury and having a great time and feeling very inclusive. It's going to be very communal with the homes around it and some shared tee boxes and some shared greens that are going to be, they're huge, but they're shared. And so it's like, you'll see people and, high five and cheers and clink glasses.
Give guys shit across the green and stuff. That's like right. That. Yeah.
I mean, we have a whole perch where you're going to watch, 10 green, 12 green, 4 green, and 5 green. You can see them all. And literally, our vision is to have rocking chairs out there with folks sitting in beers and razzing you as you're putting a little bit, and nothing over the top, but just having fun and having a community and people that are like-minded and want to have fun and want to golf and leave all the stuffy stuff behind.
Have you been down to Jordan's place at Grove 23?
I've not, but if you can get me on there, I'd love to go.
I might be able to help you with that one. I was just down there, and the same idea. I haven't played Blue Jack, but my buddies have played it and said the same thing, and Grove 23 is exactly like that. I mean, even though it's like 60 members, Brad, I'm telling the vibe was 15 out of 10. It's so laid back. It's so fun, and I won't name any of the clubs I've been to, and you've probably been to these clubs too, where it's just like, if you feel like you sneeze the wrong way, someone's going to get pissed and another member is going to get a letter from another member. It's just uncomfortable, right? Like the golf courses are great, but the vibe, my opinion, it's not my vibe. It's just not. I don't like when you feel like you're about to break an unwritten hockey rule that you don't know about and everyone's on eggshells all the time. Even though it's Jordan's place and it's one of the most high-end places, the vibe is like they can't get you a transfusion fast enough, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just so much fun. You drive carts everywhere. So I'm envisioning kind of that vibe of what you guys have out there, sort of that same idea.
100%. I mean, that's exactly what we're after. And you nailed it, man. I mean, that's it. We want people to have fun. We want you to be comfortable. We want to be respectful of members. But I mean, like you're saying, I went to a little tournament that all these different country clubs host, and it kind of rotates every year. And I went with my Blue Jack crew down in Florida and played a place that phenomenal golf course, but we're playing music and drinking, and people are literally going, hey man, we don't do that here. And I'm just like, wow, great golf course. I never want to come back. I never want to come back.
No, I want to have fun with this, right? And, and I agree with you that it's going more of that way, right? I'm fortunate enough to be a member at Dismal River Club out in Sand Hills, right? And we do the same thing out there. Like they say, like there's no rules. Like you can play 12. Just don't be a dick. They have one rule: don't be a dick. So if you're playing a 12-some, just don't hold people up.
That's right.
There's no tee times. There's whatever you want to do. Country music going out back, nighttime fire pit going. It's just the greatest vibe of relaxing out there ever. And, you know, if you went to make a tee time, they would just look at you like you're crazy. Like, you guys are all members here. You'll figure it out, right?
Yeah.
You want to, you know, start off on the 9th hole. If somebody's on the first hole. Figure it out. Like, we're not doing tee times. We're not messing. There's no time restraints on anything. Like, whatever you want to do. So, it's working. You know, Joel's done a great job with it out there of bringing, I kind of call it the, say, 50 and under crowd in who really appreciates that vibe, you know, where I love Sand Hills Golf Club out there. I'll never be a member. I'm not of the right pedigree, but it's stuffy, right? The golf course is great, but it's not as much fun. And, you know, it's kind of funny. We're not allowed to go over there, even though it's like 7 miles as the crow flies. But the Sand Hill members are kind of allowed to come to Dismal, and some of the younger guys will play Sand Hills that are members at Sand Hills and come to Dismal at night to hang out because the vibe is just way more fun of music going and sometimes bands or, you know, fire pit. It's just a better vibe. So I'm with you. I think it's going that direction, right, versus old school country clubs. So
I agree. And I think most of the new courses that are being built there's more of them like this than there are of the old ones. And it's just a function of corporate governance and country clubs and boards. And, you know, it's hard to change because the governance is usually built in a way that they're built not to change. And that's, you know, part of the reason that Red Feather's being built is you know, I wanted to get away from that culture and just really focus, like you said, on having fun, serving members, you know, and it's like every time we get a new membership, they're like, hey, are you going to assess? And I'm like, well, not for 3 years, but then at the end of that, my goal is to break even every year. And you know, we'll talk about that, but I'm like, hey guys, anything's available, you know, like we want to say yes and charge for it. That's our motto. Right. You know what I mean? Say yes and charge for it. So don't ask me to wash your car, because I'm probably going to charge you $400, but it's going to be clean when you get it back after the wrap.
How many national members are you looking to have, and how many local members are you looking to have to sort of balance that out?
Yeah, we're going to have 350 local memberships capped at 350, and then 75 national members, of which we've already sold over 30 of those. And so, you know, we're going to have some lodging, some on-site lodging that we're doing. And this is all coming down the plan. We're not doing all this from jump, but, you know, so yeah, I mean, we're going to have 350 local members and 75 national members and see how that works for us.
So Clubhouse, how do you go about building that so it captures the right vibe of what you're trying to establish with the club? And, you know, what sort of format or architectural plans are you using for that?
Yeah, so we're opening up with the temporary clubhouse. It's going to be a permanent structure, and it's basically going to be, you know, kind of like a little party barn. I don't know if you know, like we all in Texas, we've got these ranches that people go to, and they build these little kind of barn-dominium type, you know, houses, and they're really cool, but they're just really practical and functional. So we're going to start with that, and then you know, I'm building a big lazy river around the clubhouse, and going to have, you know, some cabanas, and so I just, you know, I'm a better pirate than I am an inventor. So I just go to these places, and I'm like, hey, I like that, you know, or I want to copy that. And I just like, hey, I mean, I copy them. You know, I find cool things, and I'm like, we're going to do that. And then, you know, just get it on paper and go from there.
Yeah, well, it's hard not to be influenced by things, right? If you go see something, enjoy a little of this, and you grab a little of that, and then you can kind of take all those elements and then make your place kind of your own. But it's impossible not to be influenced by other things, right? Like that's how this stuff works. The housing development part. So how did you? Where did you go with that? Then it said at first you're kind of do maybe, you know, houses that hit a certain price point. Now is it all going to be more custom built, or how many lots are you developing now along with the club?
Yeah, so they are going to all be custom built, and they'll be, you know, $1 million plus homes all around the golf course, which is a lot in Lubbock, Texas. You know, it's a great quality of living here. But, you know, we've had some people buy 6 lots, and they're going to build, you know, 20,000 square foot monsters. And then other people, you know, all of our lots are half acre or bigger. And so, you know, they're going to be sizable homes, going to be, nice homes, and I think we'll really cocoon in the golf course with some beautiful homes and landscaping around. There's no homes on the interior of the golf course, only on the exterior. So it's going to be pretty cool, and I think that we'll have some fantastic homes built. We've already sold like 30 plus lots, and so I think the whole development's going to end up being around 350 lots, but the first phase is 90, and we sold 30 of those.
Is Lubbock, is it a fair statement to say with the growth it's had, having another country club makes sense for the population that is now there?
I think so. I think we're underserved in the golf community. We have a great public course here, the Rawls course, that's the Texas Tech golf course. And then we have 3 other country clubs. But the club that I'm at now, we have 750 golfing members for 18 holes, and it is literally
serious?
Yeah, and it's literally
750,
and then we have another 250 social members on top of that. But it's packed all the time, which and so I just wanted a more, like you say, low key, spread out tee times, walk on, and so we're charging more than those initiations, and we've actually changed the market. I feel like in Lubbock, the other country clubs have all gone up on their initiation fees since we started, because we just tested the market, and I just think people are ready for something different. All of the growth in Lubbock is on the south side of town, and so that's where we're building at the edge of the city limits on the south side of Lubbock, and all the other courses are mostly on the north side of the town. And so I just think it's all lining up. Location is undefeated in real estate, and I think that's one of our biggest assets.
Yeah, and Texas isn't going anywhere, right? Like here in Illinois, we keep losing 100,000 people a year in population decline, and I can promise you a lot of them are heading to your state, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just Texas is not going to be going anywhere the next, 20, 30, unless these states like I'm in make changes, right? Like if people are going to keep coming down there. So yeah. I think in the long run, you're going to be absolutely fine for the population's going to keep growing. Plus, with such a great university in town there, right? Like it's primed for growth. It really is.
It's absolutely primed, and we serve a huge area of rural New Mexico and rural Texas around Lubbock. So Lubbock proper is growing at an incredible pace. Permits have never been higher. I mean, it's a boom without the bust. Honestly, like Lubbock has just always been so steady. We're anchored by farming, by medical, and by the university, and so those 3 things are all pretty steady, and so yeah, it's a great time to be in Lubbock.
So our guy JJ Killeen, the West Texas driving range pro, a legend in his own mind at least. So
yeah.
I love the guy, I really do. He's the perfect guy for the vibe you're trying to go after. And I know he's JJ, but he does know his stuff. He's a great teacher. He played at the highest level. So take away all the fun he has. He's a really, really good golf professional. And, what do you see him bringing to the table, for the club beyond, everyone knowing who he is, just from a operational standpoint, where do you see his strengths in helping build this club to where you guys want it?
Yeah, so JJ's actually the president. He's going to run the whole operation and be in charge of it. I wasn't looking for another job when I started this club, but he's done a phenomenal job of leading people. He's very intelligent. They say sarcasm is a huge indicator of IQ, and he's as sarcastic as anybody can be. And but he's been fantastic. He's been fantastic with the golf. He's fantastic with our crew. He works hard. He's got the right vibe for what we're wanting to accomplish and setting the tone. And you've got to have that. And I've always tell people, you can lead in any manner as long as it's genuine. And JJ is, if anything, he is genuine, and it doesn't change no matter who he's around. And I love it. I love the vibe that he brings to the club, and we're excited to have him as part of our team.
Well, Andy's such a great player. I know he minimizes how good he is. I'm not that good anymore. Like bullshit. He's still a fantastic player. And, how cool is that representing your club, right? That you have a player of that level.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, he's going to play on at least one PGA Tour event this year. He played in 2 last year. I know he's got ambitions to continue to try to make the PGA Championship, and we want to encourage that. I mean, I want golf to be – I think that helps our brand. I mean, we want to be a serious golf club while having a lot of fun, and he brings that to the table for us. But, dude, he's so good. I mean, he hits it just as far as any of those guys. I caddied for him this last year in the Byron Nelson, and I'm like, he belongs, I mean, we didn't make the cut, but he belongs. The shots that he hits, and he's as good as anybody I've seen for sure.
Yeah, it's elite talent, right? And, I'm not trying to, make JJ feel any better about himself, but between you and I, you can tell the difference between a good, club pro and elite touring pro talent. And, if he wasn't injured, he would have had a long career in the PGA Tour. He has that level of talent. You're not the player of the year on the Korn Ferry Tour without having elite talent. And he has it. Like, he's a really, really great player. Don't tell him I said that though on the podcast.
Yeah, edit this part out for sure, man.
Yeah, 1,000%. But no, like what he can do is most guys can't do it, and you can see it. Like when you're caddying for him, right? It's different when you play with a legit touring pro or someone who's done it. It's so much better than the guy who's a +2 or +3 handicap at your club. And I can try to describe it to people, but it's like night and day.
Yeah,
how much better they really are.
Yeah, there's no comparison. I mean, just the shots and the touch that they have are just, it's incredible.
Yeah, of how far they hit it, yet how good they chip and putt it, and how, right? They're just, when you play with a guy who's a +6 or a +7, it makes like a +2 look like he's a bogey golfer. Like the difference is that far from each other, and there's not that big of a difference between a 4 handicap and a 7 handicap, right? So you'd think like a +2 to a +6, that wouldn't be that big of a difference. Bullshit! It is night and day difference of what a legit touring pro looks like versus a very, very good player.
Yeah, the first 3 rounds I ever played with JJ, 4 rounds, he shoots 62, 63, 65. And I'm like, dude, you broke the course record out here. And he's like, I'm not turning that in. I mean, he's like, I mean, I've seen him shoot 62 at least twice out there at our Lubbock Country Club. And, it's incredible. I mean, but I'm like, how many times have you shot 62 out? He's like, I don't know, 25, 30, I'm just like, yeah. That's insane.
It's just a different level of good. This is so exciting. And, to see this thing come to fruition, the guys who you're working with, I got to get out this summer out to Nebraska, to see the new course that King Collins did out in eastern Nebraska, what they did out there. It's getting rave reviews, right? So, I mean, I think your guys are going to knock it out of the park with what, the vibe you're trying to get to, who you've been working with. I mean, it's just going to be A+. Just, there's no way this golf course is not going to be great. And I'm so looking forward to seeing it get fully open, the reviews that are going to, come out with it and all that stuff, and definitely sneaking down at some point, maybe this next fall, and going to see it for myself. So, man,
we'd love to have you. I got the chance to, speaking of King Collins and Landman, I got the chance to walk that property, while it was being built. And I'm like, I literally was like, hey guys, y'all think we can get a tenth of the drama, in this at Red Feather that you have out here? And Rob is just looking at me and rolling his eyes like, you have no idea, dude. Like, and so we've created that. And I was just like, I didn't know how they were going to do it, but I'm good at staying out of people's way and letting talented people do stuff around me. And we certainly got, talented people, and him and, King Collins has been great. Garrett Holt, our superintendent, and it's just phenomenal. We got him out of Shady Oaks in Fort Worth. And so he's got pedigree, and he works as hard as anybody I've ever been around in any job or any sport for that matter. He's just phenomenal. And so I love our team. We're going to have perfect conditions, as good as we can have out here, and just really looking forward to getting open.
Well, yeah. And a little bit of wind. Right, that golf course is going to play. That's what's going to make it so cool. That golf course is never going to play the same way twice.
Yeah, and the wind out here, it definitely blows in Lubbock. Especially in the spring. But our summers are as good as anywhere in the country, in my opinion. And our falls are just, they're fantastic. The temperatures are perfect. The bent grass, is great in the fall. on the greens. And then, we're really excited about the Innovation Zoysia product that we put down on the course. And had a lot of people tell me that, we wouldn't be able to have Zoysia fairways here, and it's already greening up and coming. I mean, it's going to be so good, and I'm so excited.
That's my favorite turf to play off of from a fairway. Zoysia's the best.
It's just the best. It's the best golf grass, in my opinion, out there. And so, yeah, we're juiced about that.
When you were out in Nebraska, did you make it to the Sandhills if you were that close and go and play out there a little bit?
No, I didn't, man. I mean, we actually were just in and out in one day, and I was like, hey, man, if I'm going to bite off this amount of money, I'd like to go see the product that, you think you can put down. And so that really sealed the deal for us.
Yeah. Who would have ever thought Nebraska was going to turn into a golf mecca hub of, what they're doing between, what they're doing at Landman and then out in the Sandhill area, right? I mean, who would have ever thought 25 years ago that you're going to have all these clubs popping up all over? So it's pretty wild how that's grown out there as well. Got two more for you. I try to ask this to the guys who come on the podcast. So what is the two or three best golf courses that you've ever played that you think architecturally are just superb?
Man, I played Butler National this last year. It was phenomenal.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, there's a course that we like to play down in Houston called Lochinvar. I have a good friend that's a member down there, and so we get down there and play quite a bit. It's just so much fun to play, and it's a men's-only club, but it's just so much fun out there, and it's all focused on golf, and the conditions are really great. And, those are probably two of the best. And then probably my favorite golf course, I don't know if it's architecturally great or not, but I love playing it, is Shadow Creek in Vegas. It's just like, to me, it's beautiful. It's pristine. It's I know it's man-made, but I don't care. And, it's fun. I love that course. And so those are probably the top three that I'd say that I like playing the most.
Besides Grove 23, is there any other courses on your hit list that you can't wait to get out there and go and play at some point in time?
Yes, there's a million courses that I'd like to play. I'd really like to go up and do the whole Northeast golf tour. JJ's tried to get me to do that the last couple of years, and it just hasn't worked out. But, getting up and playing Fishers and National, and he's got kind of a beat on all that. I'd love to get out and play, I've never played golf really on the West Coast, swing, the whole coastal courses. And so I'm going to do that at some point in time. But, it's just, I'd love to get out and just take a summer off one year and just travel. But the problem is I like to play too much competitively in all these tournaments, and I don't want to miss the local majors that we play in around here. So I don't travel near as much as I want to. And I got young kids. I got 12 and 7-year-old kids. And so I'm spending a lot of time with them in the summers too.
All good, my man. Hey, thank you so much for coming on. Best of luck with everything. We'll be kind of watching as it gets closer to, fully being open. But just as a golf nut myself, I'm so excited to see this thing come to life. It's just such a cool project. I love everything about it. And we'll be watching. Also, too, if anybody has questions on joining as a national member or a local member, if somebody in Lubbock listens to the podcast, what's the best way to reach out to you guys?
Yeah, so our membership director is Maddie Dean. Her name recently changed, but Maddie at redfeathergc.com, or you can go to our website. The best way to follow us is on Twitter, though, at redfeathergc. And you can get as much information there as you want. We give tours every single day. So we've got about 120 total members signed up already. I think that's pretty good before we open, and it's reasonable. Our initiation's at $50,000 right now for a full membership and $15,000 for a national membership. So it's going to be high end and affordable at the same time.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing this thing get to fully open. So congratulations with everything. Thanks for your time today. Really, really appreciate it.
Thanks, Jason, man. I appreciate being on.